Tonight, thousands of Bulldogs fans pack Whitten Oval to celebrate with their heroes. Sons of the West party hard after a 62-year premiership drought finally breaks. We hear from Footscray legends revelling in the hard-fought victory. A dramatic rescue on the bay as wild winds play havoc across Melbourne. A desperate rescue operation to free a trapped dog. And Melbourne families live out their grand final dreams in the middle of the MCG.
Live from our Melbourne headquarters, this is 7 News with Nick McCallum.
Good evening. 30,000 delirious Western Bulldogs fans have crammed into Whitten Oval to welcome the club's first Premiership Cup in 62 years. Die-hard supporters say it's been one of the greatest weeks of their lives, paying tribute to their courageous players and the astonishing achievements of rookie coach Luke Beveridge.
This is Whitten Oval as it's never been seen before. 30,000 ecstatic Bulldogs fans, the biggest crowd ever seen here for one of the club's greatest days. This is what they came to see. A Premiership Cup, the first since 1954, only the second ever for the club. This was history.
This is magnificent, seriously. This is better than anything,
We finally did what we had to do. The best I've ever seen. Never forget.
For so long they'd waited for this moment.
He misses, but they don't miss out.
Hardly anyone thought it could happen. A coach in just his second year in a senior role in a club which seemed at times to go from one disaster to the next. The Dogs had finished 7th for the season, but then finally, unexpectedly, victory was theirs.
I haven't slept, Nat. It's just amazing. It is a dream come true.
I'm so excited. I cried. Oh my God, it was just unreal.
In the words of Paul Keating, this was one for the true believers. Many stayed up all night. Some supporters spent the night at Whitten Oval, waiting for the cup to come home.
No drama, mate. I was at the MCG at 8 o'clock in the morning and I was here at 8 o'clock last night.
Give a handshake from Bevo. That's right. That's what we want.
By 10:30 this morning, half an hour before the gates even opened, the line to get in stretched around the perimeter of Whitten Oval. No one minded.
Go doggies!
A local youth band had just one song in its repertoire. But after 62 years of waiting, no one was tired of hearing it. From 11 o'clock, they streamed inside the grounds.
Souvenir Premiership programs. Get your souvenir Premiership programs here.
As they waited for their heroes, past legends of the game delighted the crowd. Doug Hawkins, who never won a premiership in his playing days, was overcome, as Luke Darcy and Chris Grant could do little but grin at the vast expanse of red, white and blue. The president, who many credit with saving the club, paid his own tribute to the fans.
Congratulate yourselves. It's been a great thing to be Bulldog supporters.
Then at midday, finally, the team of young men, some barely out of their teens, who'd made their dreams come true, was presented to the faithful. Marcus Bontempelli took photos of his own as the players grappled with the magnitude of their achievement. Beloved injured captain Bob Murphy was there.
Bob has driven the emotional and the spiritual side of our club for a long period of time.
And everyone was talking about that moment when the coach gave the captain his medal.
When Bevo gave Bobby his medal, that was it. Tears just flooding. It was amazing.
As emotional as this win has been for everyone involved with the Bulldogs, it also does much to secure the club's long-term future. This premiership will bring a lot more money to the Western Bulldogs. Good boy.
Long-term sponsor Mission is sticking around, but club officials say more sponsors are now interested.
Doggies!
The club has sold more than $1 million in merchandise in the past week alone, much of it today. And while the Dogs have never reached more than 40,000 members, people are already lining up for next year.
I'd love to see us get 50,000 next year. That would be a dream come true.
A far cry from the days of the late 80s when the club was in danger of merging.
Last time we got a crowd like this was for a rally to save the club, and here we are. Won our second premiership. It's fantastic.
46 years I've waited for, so every birthday wish has come true. Every birthday wish ever.
Long will the celebrations continue.
Go Doggies!
What a party. And Laurel Irving is at Whitten Oval this evening. Laurel, what a huge day for the West.
Oh, Nick, it was just everything for Bulldogs fans today. It's difficult to describe the emotions here. Certainly a lot of joy and quite a bit of relief as well. And the Premiership Cup will continue its lap of honour tomorrow. It goes to Ballarat, the regional home of the Western Bulldogs. The coach, Luke Beveridge, and the players will present the cup on stage at the Ballarat Town Hall at 4:30. So many Victorians have got behind the Bulldogs over the past week for this incredible story. And I'm sure the reception in Ballarat tomorrow will be almost as rapturous as it's been here today, Nick.
Thanks, Laurel. It's been a non-stop party for the triumphant Bulldogs players. Tom Brown joins us live from Yarraville. Tom, how are the Doggies celebrating tonight?
Good evening, Nick. They woof, they bark pretty loudly here in Yarraville. They're the most loyal supporters the Bulldogs have got in these parts, and they've chosen to celebrate here in Anderson Street at the Railway Hotel, which fittingly is in Bulldogs colours. There were some cheers as all the team arrived on the bus this afternoon, straight from those incredible scenes at the Whitten Oval, and it was incredible. Look, a pretty subdued affair. It's not like the old days. They're very well behaved. Club officials, family and the players all enjoying each other's company. I caught up inside with the president, Peter Gordon.
We're here in our own local community. Everyone's here who played a role. It's been so tense, it's been so exciting, but to get together with your mates and their partners and just relax and have a great time, it's what footy's all about.
Nick, they all look pretty good. They are now 24 hours into their partying. Last night after their official function, they hit Bond Bar in South Yarra, a prominent nightclub. No doubt that nightclubbing will continue later tonight. They won't get much sleep, but boy, it's a good problem to have. I'll have the latest on the Bulldogs and some trade news coming up in sport. The Bulldogs very happy tonight, Nick.
Thanks, Tom. It was a test of stamina for many Bulldogs fans today after a huge night of victory parties. The epic win triggered mighty celebrations, inspiring die-hard fans to be even more Bulldog.
A few minutes of pain to celebrate the pleasure.
I'd get it again and again.
Kylie Gilbert won't forget her elation, but some fans might have blurred memories. Footscray's pubs were full to bursting last night.
So you're so excited that you've lost your voice?
Yes!
How much did you scream during the match?
Too much!
I went to the 1961 grand final. Hawthorn beat us, but that's the last time, and here we are. We've won today.
This is one of the best days of my life. I can't believe it. We're at the pub in Footscray, and this is the night of my life.
We did a case?
Yeah, we did. It's unbelievable.
Die-hard fans still couldn't believe they'd finally won.
Pinch me. I just don't. No, you can't accept this. It's unbelievable. I really love it for all the old supporters out there, but I'm still numb.
Furniture king Franco Cozzo held an impromptu meet and greet.
Footscray, they completely destroyed them. Which that place so beautiful. Last week with the Channel 7 or so too, if Footscray win, they make 50% off from next week on for the public. 50% for everybody.
EJ Whitten Oval was another popular spot long after the game.
Let's go, beat the boys of the Bulldog breed, the team of the mighty West.
Even for some recent converts.
Well, we've come down to the Western Bulldogs to help cheer them on for winning the grand final. Go Doggies! Go the Doggies!
Go Doggies!
Until next year, we're Doggies.
It's approaching midnight here in Yarraville and the Doggies fans are still out in force. They say their party is just starting.
Who let the dogs out?
How are you feeling?
Oh, wonderful. Can't believe it. Can't believe it.
How long have you been waiting?
Well, I'm 85, so just about all those years.
How happy? It's indescribable. How happy can you be? I'm the happiest I could ever have been. My wife had a baby on Monday, and now we've got a flag to go with that. So doesn't get much better than that, does it?
We're going to celebrate for the next couple of days. The blood probably won't lines. sleep for long, will we? No, absolutely not.
Kylie will sleep very soundly, just not on her back. Estelle Grieping, 7 News.
Many past Bulldog players are still in shock that the team of 2016 managed to achieve what so many have failed to do before them. One Doggies legend today described the win as the greatest AFL Grand Final victory in 60 years.
In a quiet corner of a pub, worlds away from the overwhelming crowds of Whitten Oval, some old Doggies legends had some big raps for yesterday's performance.
In terms of football and grand finals over the last, say, 50, 60 years, this is the one that stands out.
I think it could be the start of a dynasty. And, you know, all us old die-hard Doggies, we're praying that it's going to be a dynasty.
So many are hoping it is. It'll be something to seriously consider when yesterday's fairy tale win eventually sinks in.
Not normally lost for Words as a rule, but it's been surreal. Has been hard to soak in, and it's been so much joy, so much excitement and sense of fulfilment about the whole thing.
One of very few men who has previously experienced those emotions is Jim Gallagher. He played for the Dogs in 1954, the only other year they've won a premiership.
The boys today have got more to cope with than we had to cope with. We did have our share of publicity, but this is just something different.
So different, in fact, it prompted club president Peter Gordon to break out in song at last night's players' party.
Gonna have a good time tonight. Rock and roll music's gonna play all night.
It was a chance for families and their boys to reflect. Young men elevated to hero status. Liam Picken changed the direction of the game in the final quarter with this mark.
Picken from behind! What a mark!
Also kicking 2 goals. His father Billy, who was named in Collingwood's Team of the Century, couldn't have been prouder.
I was asking all the Bulldog supporters how long to go. None of them answered me. They were all in a daze. It was incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Another proud dad was Tony Liberatore. He played 283 games for the Dogs, also winning a Brownlow, but never a premiership. Yesterday, his son Tom went one better.
We've toiled for such a long time. We've got so close so many times, but you know what? This is our era now, and this is our time.
By their president's own admission, the Bulldogs were out in the AFL wilderness, but clearly not anymore. Peter Gordon says after yesterday's spectacular display of football, it's the start of something special, and the Doggies will now be a force to be reckoned with for many years to come.
We won the VFL flag last Sunday afternoon, 2 flags in a week. We won the women's game a few weeks ago. The future is bright. These people deserve it. And I want to make sure that they get every inch of satisfaction that they can.
What it has done is it's reunited a club. It's given a club an identity, a successful club, and I think that's really important.
It also attracted many more members. Michael Scanlon, 7 News.
The Swans have returned home to Sydney, vowing to go one step better next year after losing the grand final. In stark contrast to the Bulldogs' celebrations there was little fanfare for the runners-up.
Their sore bodies and sore heads today are nothing compared to the pain of yesterday's loss.
Sydney played its heart out, and you see what it means to Nick McCallum. Sort of devastated after the game, you wake up and you're probably even more frustrated.
Sydney's second grand final defeat in 3 years was the 4th most watched game in AFL history.
Oh, they all hurt. There's none worse than the other. They all hurt.
Even still, their loyal fans were full of praise at last night's team dinner. A standing ovation for the minor premiers who promised to bounce back.
We'll be back in this position again, and then hopefully we can get the job done.
Injuries to Buddy Franklin's ankle and Dan Hanbury's knee didn't help. Neither did the free kick count, heavily in the Bulldogs' favour. But the players say they only have themselves to blame.
I just think we weren't good enough on the day. They were too good for us on the day.
Alex Hart,
7 News.
In other news, 2 people have been pulled from the bay and taken to hospital after wild winds capsized their boat. Paul Dowsley is at the Beaumaris boat ramp. Paul, what happened?
Nick, the men were pulled out of the bay just off Beaumaris about 3:30 this afternoon. They'd been in the water for about an hour, but thankfully were wearing life jackets. They were freezing, however, and taken to hospital by ambulance. 5 others were caught in the water in today's wild winds, 2 at Corio, a kayaker at Frankston South, and 2 paddle boarders at Sandringham. So tricky conditions to be out on the water today, Nick.
And Paul, the wind is causing plenty of other trouble as well.
Yeah, busy day also for the SES. They've had about 400 calls for help, mostly trees down and building damage. Trees falling on train lines disrupted many services. The wind shredded the roof of an amphitheatre in Brunswick, which was left spectacularly flapping this afternoon, and one runway of Melbourne Airport was closed. This wind will start to die down about 8 or 9 tonight, and then, Nick, the heavy rains move in.
Thanks, Paul. And meteorologist Jane Bunn will have all the details on Melbourne's wild weather a little later. A day after the Bulldogs' big win, grassroots footy fans have been able to make their own memories at the MCG. Families were able to have a kick on the hallowed turf and check out some special spots usually reserved for champions.
It's become sacred pasture for these young pups who had their chance to take centre stage, imitating their idols.
I don't know why Jake Stringer's my favourite player, he just is.
You can see it on their faces, just the opportunity to have a kick and relive their heroes' moments.
It was very much a family affair.
It's a great experience. You got the MCG sticks. It's a nice breezy day and I just love to kick those goals.
They may be little boys at the moment, but they have big dreams.
I want to be a full forward because they kick most goals. And because Brown's a superstar, so maybe I might be a superstar if I played the same position as him.
A bit of rough and tumble, but there's no love lost. That's until you ask who's the family's superstar.
Me.
You're the best player.
Yeah, no, I am. I am.
And a run on the turf isn't the only grand final experience the kids get to enjoy. They can also get to their hands on the Premiership Cup,
which for the Swans was within their grasp until the dying stages.
We just need to play our best footy.
It's very much a magical place where dreams can come true.
Oh, nice goal.
Tegan Dolling, 7 News.
Michael Felgate joins me now with a look ahead at what's coming up in tonight's sport. Michael.
Thanks very much, Nick. And I tell you, doggy fans, you're in for another treat. We'll hear the song written and performed by super coach Luke Beveridge, and it's got one hit wonder written all over it. Also, we'll catch up with Travis Cloke, who's set to be a Bulldog this time next week. Plus, Liverpool gets out of jail in a Premier League thriller. And the vile sledge which enraged Rory McIlroy in another dramatic day at golf's Ryder Cup. And Nick, we've also got a new Melbourne Cup favourite. We'll have more of that at 6:45.
Thanks very much, Michael. A 3-hour-long rescue operation has saved a dog trapped in a drain. The details are next in 7 News. Also, calls for a tribunal to bring charges over the MH17 air disaster. And the cuddly toys with a serious message about apes in the wild.